Cowboys Nation? The Dallas Cowboys are back in the win column. They take care of business. They take down, they smack down, they obliterate, they demolish the New England Patriots 38-3. Let's talk about it.
Prescott, touchdown. Throw, look the middle, sacked again by Parsons again. CD Lamb, was he down? They say no for now, and he's into the end zone.
Wow, oh wow, the Dallas Cowboys come back home to AT&T Stadium, man, and we were just wanting to take care of business right after that abysmal performance down in Arizona that I was there for. We just wanted them to get out of here with the dub, right? But man, they came out and did way more than I thought they would. They achieved, they exceeded expectations, to be honest. And I'll jump right into it. I had predicted that it was going to be a close one. I thought it was going to be 27-21 was my score prediction, and I thought it may have required a last-minute drive from Dak Prescott, which it didn't, thankfully. Obviously, I don't want that to happen. I don't want it to come down to that, but if it comes down to winning these games like this, heck yeah, I'll take that. But only allowing 3 points, which, again, this game just solidifies how confusing and how shell-shocked we all were last week. Outside of that Arizona game, you beat the Giants 40-0, you beat the Jets 30-10, and then you beat the Patriots 38-3. I mean, that's complete domination, and those are NFL teams. Now, granted, all three of those teams, they're a combined 3-7 record as I make this video, and that's without knowing what the Jets will do to the Chiefs tonight or how that game's going to end, and not knowing what's going to happen with the Giants and the Seahawks tomorrow night. But obviously, I'm aware of the competition that the Dallas Cowboys have played, and that's again why I'm so frustrated with the fact of with what they did last week against the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals lost to the 49ers, which coincidentally, we will be seeing next week, Sunday Night Football, which, wow, you talk about a game finally. Hold on to your butts. Strap yourself in for that game. It's Sunday Night Football. It's going to be an incredible game, and this whole week's going to be building up to it. But enough about that game. Let's talk about this game. 38-3, the Dallas Cowboys came out. And from the get-go, they dominated. They took control of the game, and they continued that home record I always talk to you guys about. And shout out to each and every one of you for checking out the pregame prediction video. But they were 8-0 at home last season, and they continue with this win. They're now 2-0, still undefeated at home. And I'm looking here at the stat sheet. Let's start off with Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott had a lot of criticism last week with his performance, and you guys know how I feel about that. I felt like you shouldn't have blamed him. I thought he had a really good game outside of the one interception at the end of the game, but he comes back here and continues a very sneaky, quiet, dare I say, MVP race. I mean, if you look at his stats this season, he's been nothing but efficient. He's been nothing but smart. He's only thrown one interception. Granted, the touchdowns are a little bit on the lower end compared to other gunslingers in the league. But you look at this, 28-34. And at one point, I mean, that first half, he had only missed 3 throws. He was 19-22. 261 yards, 1 touchdown. Thankfully, finally, to CD Lamb. Shout out to CD Lamb, number 88. He's back. He's ready. Welcome to the season. Gets his first touchdown. And boy, oh boy, was that an amazing touchdown. Woo! It was a floater up in the air. Nice lob pass right into the basket that is CD's hands. Ooh. No one talks enough about how Dak can throw a dime. And he looked great tonight. 28-34, 261 yards. Lining with my predictions, I had predicted he was going to throw over 250 yards. So, boom. I got that one right. I'm going to toot my own horn on that. Dak Prescott looked great. He was pretty... So here's the thing. Here's the interesting thing. Because we got to talk about this, right? We got to talk about this red zone offense. The red zone offense is still struggling. And I got problems with that. But I will say I was right. I told y'all that Hunter Lipke was going to be the fix. He was going to be the solution. And he got in the end zone. And coincidentally, it was the first red zone touchdown in the past 8 possessions. That is crazy. That is crazy. But here, let's talk about this red zone offense. Because as much as we want to criticize the Cowboys right now and look into this red zone issues and the problems that they're having down there scoring, I just listed the games to you. Those are our struggles, and we're still 3-1, shutting out the Giants, beating the Patriots, and giving Bill Belichick his worst loss in his entire coaching career, beating the Jets without Aaron Rodgers, 30-10. Wow, I'll take that over anything. So I'll say that. And you're really not going to hear a lot of complaints from me on a day that we get a win. You guys know that. I always try to keep it positive. But I feel like they're kind of too much into their head right now. And I'm talking about Mike McCarthy. I think he's overthinking down there. I think he's overthinking. I'm a huge fan of the pre-snap motions, misdirections. I love it. When one thing I noticed, and I really want to do a breakdown in the red zone because I'm a student. A student of the game, and I really want to learn this as well and see where the tendencies are. But I just feel like there's too much going on where it just needs to be pretty simple. There was a specific drive where we ran it twice, looked pretty good, ran the ball. Tony Pollard had an out route. Preferred to be Brandon Cooks, one of our wide receivers doing the out route, but it was Tony Pollard instead. And then we just had that laughable third down where it was a play action and Dak was taken to the ground. We're just overthinking that. And that was like a 3rd and short, right? Put Hunter Lipke in there. And I honestly believe we're probably going to see Hunter Lipke a lot more now based off the success that he had. And even that first time that they tried to run it with Lipke, it was a shotgun. It was from the shotgun and they handed it to Lipke and it went for like no yards. That's not how you should use Lipke. You got to get in a goal line stance, ISO, and give him the ball and let him go to work. He's not Rico Dowdle. And shout out to Rico Dowdle. He left the game with a hip injury. Hopefully he's good because he's having an underrated season so far. He's looking really good. But today was a day where we really didn't need the run game. You look at Tony Pollard, 11 attempts for 47 yards. Kevontae Turpin had that big run for 46 yards. And Rico Dowdle, 3 for 9, and Deuce Vaughn, 8 for 9. Still feel like we're trying to figure out our weapons. And I guess that's the gist of what I'm saying about the red zone offense. It is frustrating, and it shouldn't be as frustrating. We have so many weapons. CD, Gallup, Cooks, Pollard, Turpin, Deuce Vaughn, if you want to throw them in there. I'm not even naming our tight ends. Jake Ferguson, Peyton Hendershot, Luke Schoonmaker. One thing I will say is I think we're highlighting and emphasizing the tight ends too much in the red zone. And I don't like that. It's just never worked out. But, I mean, throw it up to CD. Throw it up to Gallup. And if we do that and if we don't get it, hey, man, I get it. We got bested. They made a great play. The defense made a great play. But that's the thing I hate, man. That's the thing that keeps me up at night, is knowing we didn't give it to our best playmakers. If we're in the playoffs and we try Schoonmaker twice and Jake Ferguson once and we have to settle for a field goal, that's haunting me for the rest of my life. Knowing that we had CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, and Brandon Cooks to go to, or even Tony Pollard. I hope you're catching what I'm saying here. I just feel like we haven't utilized those weapons in the red zone still. And it's not a matter of missing Ezekiel Elliott, and shout out to number 21. He was there today, and that was just incredibly emotional. But that's where I'm at with the red zone offense. I feel like they're overthinking it, and you just got to give it to your playmakers. And you look, we're in the top 5 in the NFL with time of possession. We're in the top 5 in terms of offensive yards. There's no problem with us running the ball. The Texas coast is a beautiful thing. You look at the stats, it's paying off. You look at the stats from the Jets game. You look at the stats from the Giants game. This Texas coast, and even the Cardinals game, I said this last week, we were moving the ball so well. from wherever we started to the 20-yard line. But once we got into the red zone, it's too much down there. There's something needs to be simplified where we can just give it to our players and not get too creative and not get too cute down there. And that's really where we're at. And I like our ceiling right now. If you're telling me this is the worst that we're going to be this season, where we're outscoring opponents like we are and playing defense like we are, and we're kicking field goals, and shout out to Brandon Aubrey, who had another terrific game. I was scrolling down to take a look at the stats. Looks like he was 3 of 3. Awesome. He's had Cowboys Nation eating their words. He's done a great job. So it's a long season. That's where I'm at. It was frustrating. We got the win, yes. Scored 38 points. But it's a long season. I would rather us be picking up our steam and figuring these things out November, December. It's 4 games in. Would I like to see it better? Absolutely. But be patient. Be patient. I'm asking you. I know that's hard. But it'll start clicking. And Dak Prescott's playing really good football right now. Just look at the stats. If you don't see it, I don't know what else to tell you. Wide receivers. I got to give a shout out to the tight end, Jake Ferguson. 7 receptions, 77 yards. We've been waiting for our tight end, one of our tight ends, to break loose and stand out. And thank God Jake Ferguson did that today. There's been a lot of rumors about Kyle Pitts with the Atlanta Falcons and trading this and trading that. I mean, Dallas gets insane after a loss. There's so many ridiculous stories, rumors, whatever that happened throughout the week. But I'm glad he went out there and had a good game. No touchdowns, that's okay. But as long as you can prove to be a great weapon, and he had that great catch where Dak led him and he got smacked. Jake Ferguson got hit, but he held on to the ball. Michael Gallup is finally coming out. 5 receptions, 60 yards to top his performance that he had last week. We had a little bit of Jalen Tolbert sprinkled in there, 4 receptions, 53 yards. CeeDee Lamb, obviously, with his touchdown, 4 receptions, 36 yards. But I'm looking down this receiver slot right here. Brandon Cooks, 4 receptions, 27 yards. This ball is being spread around. And that's the other thing that you got to credit the Texas Coast offense for. This ball is being spread around to numerous receivers. And I really believe that's kind of setting them up for success when we do get in the trenches. Because instead of game planning for one player, we're game planning and including everyone. And that's going to make it more difficult for defenses to game plan against us because you don't know which one you're going to get. Gallup almost had 100 yards last season. He almost had 100 yards last game against the Cardinals. CeeDee Lamb had 100 yards plus 140 yards against the New York Jets. We're still waiting for Brandon Cooks, man. Like I said, if this is us at our worst, 3-1, blowing out opponents, and our defense playing like this, take it. Don't complain. Let's take it, and let's prepare for next week when we take on the San Francisco freaking 49ers. Shout out to Deron Bland, man. I got it. Wow. Wow. Deron Bland had a pretty rough showing last week against Arizona. But 2 interceptions today, a pick 6. Man, Mac Jones was throwing across the field and Deron Bland said, try it again. Pick 6 to the house, baby. Shout out to Deron Bland. We really needed him to step up. We really needed him to take that next step. And he has. There's no criticism. I'm not, doing any of that. But after Trayvon Diggs went down with his injury, he's going to be out for the season. And I hope that's where you understand where Cowboy fans are coming from now. It's not because we're disappointed not only for the fact that our All-Pro, Pro Bowl shutdown corner Trayvon Diggs is missing the rest of the season and how he's that tandem with Micah Parsons. I mean, come on, they're 7-11. But it was just a disappointment to know that the secondary was finally one of the biggest strengths in our team. And you saw Deron Bland, 2 interceptions, 1 pick 6 tonight. If Trayvon Diggs is playing, that's our cornerback. That's our 3rd cornerback on the depth chart who's covering the slot wide receiver. So understand the disappointment and understand why we were a little bit frustrated. But let's take a look at the sacks. Only 2 sacks on the day. We got one from Sam Williams and Dante Fowler, who, wow, that was an amazing play from Dante Fowler. And again, this defense is stacked in terms of the rushing game. Because obviously, if it's not Micah Parsons, it could be Dorrance Armstrong. And if it's not Dorrance Armstrong, well, it could be DeMarcus Lawrence. And if it's not DeMarcus Lawrence, well, it's Dante Fowler. It could be Sam Williams. It could be so many other players such as Osa Odighizuwa. There's so many different players that were stacked there at the defensive position. And oh, I forgot to mention our first-round draft pick, Mozzie Smith, who's learning and getting caught up to speed. And once he's ready, he's going to put the league on notice. That's crazy. Micah Parsons didn't even have a sack, and we all know that whole argument, right? Micah Parsons, his effectiveness and his contribution doesn't always show up on a stat sheet. We would love for the sacks, obviously, but Sam Williams doesn't get that sack, and Dante Fowler doesn't get that sack without Micah Parsons' presence through that entire game. But Dante Fowler with the strip sack returned it and then recovered by Leighton Vander Esch. And I know Cowboys Nation was pretty rough on Leighton Vander Esch this past week, but I feel like he did really well. I think he had a better effort. He made good tackles, and there he just had to scoop it up and score for the touchdown. But that's worth mentioning when we're talking about Leighton Vander Esch. But man, we shut down the New England Patriots. They have to bench Mac Jones. They got to go to Bailey, their backup quarterback. Ezekiel Elliott only goes 6 carries for 16 yards. Look, I know it's the Patriots. I know they're 1-2. And I had predicted in my season prediction video back in May for us to be at 4-0 right now. So I'm not going to toot our own horn and say, yeah, I told you so. Yeah, Cowboys are back. It's exciting to win, obviously, and it's exciting to win this way. But this game should have been won. We're at that point in this Mike McCarthy era where it's like, yeah, that should be a win. And that's exciting the way that we win. But man, oh man, focus it on this game coming up here on Sunday. Like I said, I've been waiting all year, all offseason to get to this game. And not in the sense that I'm like, I want to get the 49ers. Because if we win or lose, I don't really care. I just want their number in the playoffs. Even if we blow them out next week. Doesn't change a thing. Doesn't change the fact that they've owned us the past 2 seasons. So would it be nice? Yes. But if we lose, am I mad? Not really. But I do believe it's an incredible measuring marker. Because the 49ers, off the top of my head, arguably the best team in the NFL. And for us to go on the road, which we struggle with, and we'll talk about in my pregame prediction video, it would be very interesting to see where this team is and how competitive that game is up in San Francisco, knowing that we got more weapons to surround Dak Prescott, and this defense is, if not better, than what they saw in the divisional round of the playoffs. Boy, oh boy, I'm so excited for that game. I'm so excited. But other than that, that's it for this post-game reaction video. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more Cowboys content, and follow me on all my social media platforms. The Dallas Cowboys win 38-3 and move to 3-1. And boy, oh boy, Sunday Night Football next week, Cowboys and the 49ers. Can't wait. I'll see you guys next time. Go Cowboys.